This small battery-powered device allows you to dive 30 feet down underwater. Is this the future of diving? This is the all-new Nomad by BLU. The Nomad is a battery-powered surface supply diving system that runs on a rechargeable battery. This is the first ever unboxing of the Nomad by BLU. I'm really excited, so let's get in and have a look at it. I already own the Nemo by BLU, and the Nemo by BLU is such an amazing piece of diving gear. The Nemo by BLU only allows you to go down to 10 feet, and everyone who's tried the Nemo by BLU absolutely loves it, but the main complaint is that they want to go deeper, and so the Nomad does exactly that. Inside the box here, it's all in its backpack already. This backpack here from the front looks exactly like the Nemo backpack. Now, I do notice one difference right off the bat, that this backpack is a little bit thicker, and that's because the Nomad is a little bit bigger than the Nemo. What's really cool about this backpack is it has straps on the side to hold your fins. And on this side, it has a gear pocket as well. So you can pack your mask, your snorkel, your fins, you can pack everything in here, and you can just walk right down to the water with this. And this is your whole self-contained diving system right here that allows you to go down to 30 feet. 30 feet may sound shallow to very experienced scuba divers. However, I find that majority of my dives are at 30 feet or even shallower. If I'm going lobstering, I lobster in about 20 feet of water. This really covers about 80% of all the diving I would ever do. So everything comes packaged up really nicely. You've got your dive flag here, and in the dive flag is a pipe, and this pipe is actually the air intake. Got your instructions here. They sent you a really cool sticker with it, and there is the Nomad right there. So that's the unit right there. The hose is coiled around it. It's got a 30-foot hose, and the regulator is on the end of the hose as well. And also it comes with this is actually a dry bag, and it is a safety float to go along with the Nemo. It gives it more visibility, and it also gives you something to hang on to in the water if you did get tired of swimming. Straight to the good stuff. I'm gonna pull the Nomad out of the box and show you. Now, the backpack's got some really nice clips that help hold it in place as you're transporting it, so the Nomad's not bouncing around in here. Now look at how compact that is right there. It's amazing that this does the job of scuba gear, including a scuba tank. That's absolutely incredible. So you've got the 30-foot hose coiled around the outside there. It's got some really nice integrated bungees right onto the body of the unit, which holds the hose in place, holds the regulator in place as well. Got the harness, of course. The harness, which holds the hose onto your body, is built right onto the hose. You just put that harness on, and then as you're swimming, the hose is tugging on your back. It's not tugging on your mouth, so it's super comfortable to use this. That's just like the Nemo. They've brought some of the best features of the Nemo over to the Nomad, and they just beefed it up. They made it go deeper. Okay, let's set this to the side for right now. So this is your safety float and your dry bag. You can go ahead and you can put your phone in there. You can put all your valuables in there, wrap it up, and it will stay dry. It'll inflate, and then it'll tow along with you as you're using the Nomad. This is your diver safety flag along with the air intake that goes onto the Nomad. So there is your safety flag. So that part's all ready to go, and to put it onto Nomad, you got to insert this tube here. Now, what's really cool about this here, boaters are gonna see you from really far away with this, and especially if you have this big green float going along with you, really high vis. So anything we can do to make this safer, I really like. So this is really cool. Also in the bag here, we have the charger. Now, what's really cool about these chargers is I've used the charger inside my car running on a tiny little inverter, and I've managed to recharge my battery for the Nemo inside the car. So hopefully we can do the same with the Nomad. That would be really awesome. The Nomad will run for about 45 minutes to an hour if you're around 30 feet, and if you're diving shallower than that, it should last a little bit longer. Now, I say that this in this box does the job of 2 scuba tanks because I do believe that there is a spare battery in here. So that gives you a couple hours of diving. Cut this open. This is the extra battery for the Nomad. So it is bigger than the battery for the Nemo. It's got its waterproof connector here. On the bottom, it's got 4 LEDs. You can press that, and then the lights tell you how much life you have left in the battery. And what's really cool, when this battery is hooked up to the unit, you can actually see the lights down in the water. So if you were diving and you wanted to know how much battery you have left, you could come up, press the button, and see how much charge you have left in your battery. The Nomad has a very cool feature to it. When it gets low on battery and you inhale, what it's gonna do is gonna pulse in such a way that you know it has a low battery. So when you're breathing and you start to feel it pulsating, you know that the battery's low and it's time for you to make your way back up to the surface safely. So the bungees come right off like that, and then it looks like you can uncoil as much of the hose as you want. So like if you were only diving in a very shallow spot, like 10 feet, you could pull off 10 feet of hose, and it looks like you could coil it back up so that you're only using the hose that you need. So on top of the Nomad here, you have a rubber plug. This rubber plug sits in here for storage, but you have to pull this rubber plug out before you start up the unit. That rubber plug plugs off the air hole. So you would take the rubber plug out of there, and that's where our intake pipe and our dive flag is going to attach to. Let's take a look on the back here. So this is where the battery goes in the bottom of Nomad. Here is a closer look at the battery on the Nomad. So this latch pulls up like this, and the battery comes out of here. You can see the battery connector there is real easy to take on and off. You just push the little thumb lever down and it comes up like that. So there it is. It's a watertight connection because this sits down in the water. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna snap the cable into the battery. We get a nice beep, and we get some pulsation of air from the Nomad, which lets us know that it's on, it's okay, and it's ready to run. Now, one really important thing, before you plug the battery in, you do need to take that little rubber plug out so that the air can go through and get into the motor. Now let's take a look at the other end of the hose. This is what they call the Smart Reg. So in diving, you have a regulator. The regulator goes in your mouth and delivers air into your mouth. This is called the Smart Reg because it's actually communicated to the Nomad, and it tells the Nomad when to run. So if you inhale on the Smart Reg, it tells the Nomad to pump air down to you. And when you're not inhaling, the Nomad just stops, so it's not wasting battery. And that's how this system is able to be so efficient and last so long when you're diving down in the water. The Smart Reg has the little switch here, so we're gonna turn the switch on. I'm gonna put it in, and I'm gonna start breathing. Very nice. It breathes really easy. The Nomad pumps the air down to me really nice. On top of the Nomad, it comes with a couple of ball bungees. This is to help you coil up any excess hose you have in there, as well as attach the safety float. Here is the dive flag. It's got a coupling. So you take the O-ring side of the pipe and you push it firmly inside of Nomad. And look at that there. Dive flag is all ready to go, sticks up really high. Now this whole unit right here is very buoyant, floats in the water all on its own. So that's how we're gonna use it. We're gonna float it in the water. And then what you can do, if you're out in the ocean, you want extra visibility, is you can inflate this dry bag, and you can use the bungees and attach it right here. So you've got this high vis green right in front of the Nomad, and every boat in town will hopefully see you. The Nomad is your air delivery system while diving. So you're gonna need a few other things to get in the water. You're gonna need a dive mask, of course, like this. This is one of my favorites right here. You're gonna need some flippers as well. These are just some little ones that I use in the pool. You're going to need to use a properly weighted weight belt. So a properly weighted weight belt will keep you neutrally buoyant in the water. When you inhale, you don't want to be floating up to the surface, and when you exhale, you don't want to sink like a rock. You want to have just enough weight that it holds you right in place. And also, Blue recommends that you use a spare air with the Nomad. So the spare air is basically like a tiny little miniature scuba bottle, and this will keep you alive underwater for a couple minutes depending on how deep you are. If the Nomad ever were to fail, if you were to run it out of battery or it were to stop working for whatever reason, you would just pull your spare air out here, put it in your mouth, and just breathe comfortably as you make your way safely to the surface. So I think the only thing that's really left is to get my mask on and get in the water. I got Nomad all ready to go. I got the extra hose coiled up there. I've got my spare air attached to the harness. I've got my weight belt on. I've got my mask, and I've got my fins. So I'm gonna jump in the pool and do the first ever test on YouTube of the Nomad. Breathes really nice. All right, here I go. Right off the bat, I noticed that the Nomad feels very easy to breathe. I don't have to pull hard at all to get air into my lungs. It breathes really nice. And the hose tows pretty good on my back. I can barely feel that it's there. Just like a traditional scuba regulator, the Smart Reg has a purge button. So if you press the purge button, it'll activate Nomad to run, and it'll pump extra air into your mouthpiece. And that's really good to flush any water that gets in there, flushes it right out. And you can see every time I inhale, it activates the Nomad to run on its own. If you look up here on the underside of Nomad, you can press the battery indicator while you're in the water, and look at that, I've got 4 lights. That means I've got a full charge of battery. I'm good to go for a long time. I only let out about 15 foot of hose. I coiled up the rest on the Nomad, and it's real easy to swim along with. It doesn't drag. I'm able to achieve a nice trim and buoyancy in the water. Feels really good. Just like in scuba diving, when you go down deep, you build up pressure on your ears and you need to equalize. So as you go deeper, you feel the pressure on your ears. You need to lightly pinch your nose and lightly blow into your ears, and that will clear your ears and they will feel better, and then you can go deeper. If the regulator ever came out of your mouth for some reason, it's real easy to get it back in and get the air flowing again. You can always hit the purge button and that will pump more air down into the regulator. So I just very calmly take the regulator, put it back in my mouth, and I hit that purge button to pump it all full of air, and then I just continue breathing as normally, and I'm good to go. Another thing I've made the mistake of is jumping into the water with the switch shut off on the regulator. I was so excited to get in, I jumped in and started swimming down, and I couldn't breathe. I just got to turn that switch on the Smart Reg, and the Nomad is flowing air again, good to go. If for some reason I was to run the battery out and the Nomad was to stop completely, what I would do is I would go to my spare air, open it up, pull it out of the strap, put the spare air in your mouth, and just like a regulator, it's got a purge button. So you can hit the purge button, make sure it's full of air, and then go ahead and start breathing naturally. The spare air is a little harder to breathe off of. It has more resistance, but it will give air to you and it'll keep you alive with more than enough time to make it back safely to the surface. To recover the regulator, it's very similar to scuba diving training. You sweep your arm in a large arc to the right, grab that regulator, bring it down, put it back in your mouth, and then you're gonna hit that purge button to make sure all the water's flushed out, and then just continue breathing normally. The body of the Nomad is very buoyant on its own and is able to support that dive flag, keep it high in the air to show all the boaters in the area that you're down diving. When using the Nomad, you want to work on your technique just like you would with any other type of diving. You want to be laid out horizontal like this, kicking with your legs and your fins. Your hands are together. You don't need them to swim. With a properly weighted weight belt that keeps you neutrally buoyant. And be mindful of where your hose is so it's not getting snagged up on anything on the surface. The Nomad performs really well. I'm really happy with it. It breathes really easy, just like the Nemo does. And actually it breathes a little bit smoother than the Nemo, so I kind of like that. It feels really good, almost as natural as scuba diving for me. The hose tows along great on your back. It doesn't pull on your mouth, so that's really nice. The Smart Reg works fantastic. If you take the regulator out of your mouth and put it back in, you can hit the purge button, fill it back up with air, and keep breathing just like you could with scuba diving. So it is very safe. So the only thing left to do is to get this out in the salt water, and let's check out some reef. I'm at the lagoon here. This is one of my favorite places to snorkel in Florida. Now, just to show you how portable the Nomad is, I put it on my inflatable paddleboard. Nomad's gonna sit on it just like this. All my extra stuff up here. We'll get out in the water and see how it goes. Look at the lagoon today. Look how beautiful the water is. It's so nice. And I made it all the way out here on the paddleboard alone. I got the Nomad. All right, I'm all geared up. I'm ready to jump in the water. Nomad is all the way out there. Take a listen. You can hear the Nomad out there. It kind of sounds like a compressor. Pretty cool because it lets everyone know that I'm still breathing and I'm still alive, and my dive partner also can always look at that, listen for me, and know I'm good to go. I've got all my extra gear in this bag strapped off to the board, and all my really important stuff is in the dry bag on the Nomad already. So I'll always have my very important things with me in case I get separated from the paddleboard. So I'm looking 100%. I'm gonna jump in the water. Let's get down there and check out the reef. I made it back to the boat ramp on the paddleboard. It was so awesome. I'm so happy that I have a really good diving system that I can use right off my paddleboard. This is gonna make my life so easy. The Nomad worked exactly like it was supposed to. It breathed easy. I used it for about an hour, and after about an hour, the battery started to get low, and then I felt the pulsating. Every time I breathe in, you can feel it pulsate, and that's the Nomad letting you know that the battery is getting low, and so it's time to make your way safely back to the surface, and that's exactly what I did. Anyway, guys, I hope you check out the Nomad, assembled in the USA. It is an amazing product. Check the link below. I will have a link to the Nomad so you can check it out and buy one if you really liked it. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a like, and please consider subscribing to this channel for more great underwater content in Florida. Thanks again. Now get out there and explore.
You just come running by.